Now, one of the biggest challenges I faced when I first started out as a photographer, it wasn't the technicals, it wasn't camera settings, it wasn't lighting. It was actually trying to get the person who I was photographing to be as engaged and excited and involved in the photo shoot as I was. So often I'd kind of organize a photo shoot, I'd got a model off some kind of agency website, they would come to the studio and kind of just go through the motions as I was doing what I was doing. So I realized that something had to change. But what I also realized was that the way they were not being so engaged and what have you was mainly down to me not explaining what it was that I wanted. So the old saying of show me, don't tell me really came into play. So what I started to do was show people the pictures. Whatever it was that I wanted to do, I'd find a picture, be it online or out and about. I'd take a picture with my mobile phone, I'd keep it and I'd turn it to them and say, look, this is what I want to do with you. And this is what I did initially when I was photographing physiques. Coming from a competitive bodybuilding background, it was very easy to be in the gyms to speak to people that I wanted to photograph. But even then, to convince them to get in front of the camera was a challenge until I started to show them vintage bodybuilding photographs from the 60s and 70s, classic pictures, and then turn these pictures to them and say, I really want to do this with you. And of course, you know, what physique person, someone who trains day in, day out, dedicates their life to improving their physical appearance, isn't going to say yes to that photo shoot. But when it came to photographing kind of regular people that I wanted to do with like some kind of a themed shoot, that's when showing people the pictures of an idea of what I wanted to do really came handy. So what I started to do was, like I said, collecting pictures, but I would also go online, places like Pinterest, and I'd find images by photographers that I really liked, people like Annie Leibovitz, Mark Seliger, Yusuf Karsh, and I would collect certain images and keep them on my hard drive. And I'd be able to then show people and say, look, this is the kind of thing that I want to do with you. So for example, if I go over to Pinterest now, look, here we are on Pinterest, and I'll just type in, let's just type in Annie Leibovitz, like so, and it'll bring up, you know, loads of her different portraits. So I'd kind of just find a few of these. I'd make an album maybe in Pinterest, images that I liked that I thought, well, that'd be a good one to use. So I could show somebody when I was thinking of using them for that particular photo shoot. A prime example of it, if I just put Annie Leibovitz and let's put in Patrick Stewart, there is an iconic picture that she did with Sir Patrick Stewart and Ian McClellan. So it's this one just here. Absolutely love this. So I'd find this picture. I was totally drawn to it. I love the simplicity of it. I love the pose and I love the lighting. So I used this picture to photograph two gentlemen from a group called the Bearded Villains. So if I dive over to my Lightroom, this is the picture that I recreated in a similar kind of style to the one of Annie Leibovitz. It's not exactly the same. Obviously, the characters are different. But it was the pose. It was to be able to show these two guys, say, look, this is kind of what I want to do with you. And when I started doing this, be it with the physique people, be it with the models, be it with people like this, you could literally see a switch go off when they're suddenly going, I like that. So rather than me trying to tell them what I wanted to do with them, I was showing them, and then they were starting to see themselves in that picture. So they knew what they were going to get. And instantly the difference was just incredible. They then were engaged, they were excited, and they were really involved in the photo shoot. So this I would do a lot. So like I said, I would collect images, I'd put them into folders. Perfect example, look, if I dive over to my iPhoto library here, here's a folder I created just called Inspiration. So as I'm browsing around the internet and just happen to stumble across some pictures that I just like the look of, I may never use them, but they're there for just in case. And this one here, look, in particular, I really like this one. I was really drawn to it. It's like a digital art that's been created. Really like the look and feel of it. It's got one of these kind of positive sayings here. But I ended up using this as inspiration for a picture that I did with my friend Gez. I'm currently working on a Warriors project. And if I just scroll, if I try and find the image here, you'll see what I did, my version of that picture, totally inspired by that one that I found. Lots more I could have done with this, having people weighing the distance here on horses, you know, used AI for that, but I didn't have to. It was just keeping things simple. But the starting point for this was the image that I found online just there. So I showed this to my friend Gez. I sent him a message saying, look, I'd love to do this kind of picture with you, mate. And rather than me trying to explain it, here it is. I added it as an attachment. He sees it straight away. The reply was, game on, we're doing it. And it was just brilliant. We're all very, very much involved in it. So it's been a huge, huge help, that has. However, what do you do when you want to photograph somebody in a certain way, but you can't find the picture? You don't have anything to kind of reference for you to kind of say, look, this is kind of what I want to do here. You get an idea of the composition, maybe like with that warrior picture there, the kind of things that you might need to collect, clothing and props for to do it. But you've got nothing to show the person that you think would be ideal for the photo shoot. What do you do then? How do you get what's in your head out onto paper or the screen so that you can show them? Well, this is something that I kind of started to use AI for. Now, AI is obviously a huge topic when it comes to retouching. How much do you use it for? People are kind of concerned that maybe it could remove some of the creativity. That's not how I'm using it. I'm using AI in a way that helps me to do the tedious tasks. It certainly doesn't detract from my creativity. But this here, using AI for getting what's in your head into an image that you can then show them, oh my God, massive, massive difference. Let me show you what I mean. Let's dive over to a web browser here. I'll just open up a new tab, and I'm actually going to go to a website called Firefly. There you go. So firefly.adobe.com. And in here, lots of different ways that we can use the Adobe's AI, like the scene to image, text to video, all sorts of stuff. But I'm just going to go with this one here, text to image. So we're going to use the model here, Firefly Image 3. We'll use fast mode. We're not using this to create an image that we want to kind of use for display purposes. This is purely using AI to create a mood board for us so that we can kind of help ourselves with what we're going to create and also show the person that we're going to photograph. So fast mode, completely fine with that. We will go for, let's go for widescreen. We could go 4:3 aspect ratio, which is what most people have their camera set to, but we can also set them to 16:9. I quite like that. It's a cinematic look. We're not looking for anything photorealistic. We'll just create a drawing of it. That's all it needs to be. So we'll go for art. I'll scroll further down and we're going to look for different styles. So with this, let's just say then that I really fancy making another picture for my Warrior series. I'm going to go for a Viking type of picture. And what I'd love to create is a picture of a Viking stood up on a cliff edge, looking down on the, looking down at the waves crashing below, and he's there stood with his Viking axe. He's got his beard and plaited hair and what have you. Just that kind of scene would be really, really cool. I can't find it online, but let's see if I can make it first of all, so I could then show somebody. So we've put a few little things in here. What kind of style do I want to do it in? Well, at the moment it's saying popular. Let's go to all. And this doesn't really matter. This is purely down to your own, how you want the drawing to look. That's all it's going to be. But let's just go for, what have we got? What have we got? Something that's going to look kind of cool to show them anyway. Could go for modern art, maybe. Impressionism, fantasy. Oh, I don't know. Let's just try fantasy just for the hell of it. So we'll go fantasy. Right, now that I've chosen that, I'm just going to come to the prompt down here and describe what it is that I want this, what's in my head to get it onto the screen so I can then use that as a mood board. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to type in full length Viking stood high on cliff edge. Let's have a look here. Cliff edge, looking down at the sea with the waves crashing. Viking is side on to the camera, and I'll put 3/4 view. We can see the side of his face. Viking has a beard and plaited hair, which is blowing in the wind. he is holding a Viking axe in his hand. So let's just try that. That's kind of getting a bit of a mind dump into the prompt area to see what it creates. And the great thing about this is when I click on generate, it's not just going to create one version of it. Straight away, it's going to create 4 versions so that I can kind of then, oh, a bit of spelling mistakes in there. But I mean, straight away, look at this, look. Straight away, it's given us an idea of some things that we could create. Well, that one there is kind of facing more towards the camera. So I don't really like, let's kind of get in there, that there. That's more towards the kind of thing that I like. But let's just have a bit of a play with this. Let's just see if we can change the style. We won't go fantasy. Let's just go with Baroque. Oh, blimey. Yeah, let's try Baroque, whatever that's going to do for us. But let's just change some of the settings in here, change the wording. So face, that needs to say F-A-C, face. So let's have full-length Viking stood on cliff edge looking down at the sea with waves crashing. Viking is side onto the camera, 3/4 view from behind. There we go. From behind. We can see the Viking's face. Right, okay, let's click on generate. Let's see what that does for us now. So we get these original 4 here, and then we're going to get another 4 variations now with those changes in it. That's looking, oh, well, I see it. There you go. This kind of thing's looking good. So we could really spend quite a bit of time now just playing around with the prompt and the style to get it to look exactly like we want. But this is exactly what I did for a fairly recent photo shoot when I was getting back into the compositing. I did it for a Viking shoot. My friend Foxy was playing the part of the Viking. And I distinctly remember when we were doing the photo shoot that he was although he's an actor, he does a lot of extra work in TV and film work, you could see that he was still not in character. Do you know what I mean? He was kind of stood there in front of the camera, the lights were on him, and he was just kind of going through the motions. But then I showed him the picture, this one here, and I said to him, look, this is you. You're high up on this cliff and you're looking down at the water there to see if there's any long ships coming in and what have you. So that is what you are. The difference that made was incredible. So now look, let me dive back over to my Lightroom. Got a grid view here, and let's just scroll down, see if I can find it. There you go, look. There is the image. Let's just get rid of these side bits just there. So that is what I created from having that original one there, that kind of mind dump into the prompt in Firefly to create those kind of generations of images there that I could then use as a reference for what I wanted to collect, because that gave me an idea of angles and lighting and what kind of background it would be good to get. But it helped massively when it came to the person that I was photographing. You know, no longer were they like it would have been years ago, just kind of going through the motions, stood in front of my camera while I'm the one that's excited, trying to push my excitement into them so they become involved as well, which never seemed to work. The minute you kind of show the person that, like I did with Simon, total difference. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's something that's made a massive difference to the results that I'm getting. You know, if you're the one that's excited, but the person you're photographing isn't, there will always be something missing in the photo shoot. But when you're both excited, you, the person you're photographing, and you kind of both just come together, it just works. And you can tell when you get the final image, it just absolutely works. So the message from all of this is, show me, don't tell me. If you can find an image to show them, great. If you can't, I would highly recommend you give it a go. Playing around with this Firefly technology. There are obviously different other AI technology platforms out there, but I like using the Firefly one from Adobe because it's given me 4 variations straight away. But yeah, it makes a massive difference. So I just thought I'd share that with you. I'll see you in the next video.